In Capital News tonight, President of Zanzibar Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi takes his oath as a member of the cabinet. "22 employees of Tanzania Revenue Authority have been suspended following allegations of malpractice. And in sports, Shotgun Karate fighters from Tanzania to participate in this year's East African Shotgun Karate tournament this Saturday. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Nasma Mwambe. Let's get started with the national news. President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. John Magufuli, today led the first cabinet meeting in Dodoma. The meeting was preceded with the President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Liberation Council, Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, taking his oath to become a member of the cabinet, preceded by Chief Justice Professor Ibrahim Juma.
Kwa moyo wangu wote na nitahifadhi, nitailinda na kuitetea katiba ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania kwa mujibu wa sheria, na kwamba katika kutekeleza madaraka niliyopewa kwa mujibu wa katiba ya Zanzibar na katiba ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, nitaitetea na kudumisha umoja wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie. Mimi Hussein Ali Mwinyi, Rais wa Zanzibar na mwenyekiti wa Baraza la Mapinduzi Zanzibar, na hapa kwamba katika kutekeleza kazi zangu kama mjumbe wa Baraza la Mawaziri la Serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, nitamshauri kwa hekima na uaminifu Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, na kwa vyovyote vile sitotoa siri za Baraza la Mawaziri. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie.
The Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Philip Mpango, has directed the Commissioner General of Tanzania Revenue Authority, Edwin Mhede, to suspend 22 employees of the authority, who include some regional managers, in order to pave way for investigation on allegations against them of corruption and negligence.
Yani wananijeruhi kweli. Yani nasikia moyo wangu nakuwa na madonda.
They're hurting me. My heart feels like it is wounded. This country, where we are struggling with the poor, whom we are supposed to bring them water, medicine, and that their children are able to be educated at least for 4 without paying school fees, yet people are doing this inside the Commission. Therefore, my instructions today to all that are mentioned by name, I'm instructing you, TRA Commissioner, that you suspend them.
The Regional Commissioner of Mwanza, John Mungela, has led mourners to pay last respects to the bodies of 9 residents of the city out of 15 who lost their lives in a car accident that occurred on December 14th in Singida region. The last respect for the accident victims were held at Mabatini area, after which they were laid to rest at Mabatini and Nyasaka cemeteries.
Hakuna msiba unazoeleka, lakini kufiwa na watu 15 kwa wakati mmoja.
One can never get used to someone's passing, but to lose 15 people at once, I don't think any human mind can possibly process this. We must ask God for strength and patience so we could cross over. To family members, we pray that God be with you.
Faraja kubwa inatoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu.
A lot of comfort comes from God. Let us protect our faith, believing that everything has its season.
Katika safari yao waliondoka watu 14.
14 people had set off for the journey and 12 people died, 6 men and 6 women.
Principal Judge of the High Court of Tanzania, Dr. Elias Feleshi, has said that some people have been using court procedures as means of delaying inheritance cases, causing the beneficiaries to be denied their rights. Judge Feleshi made this statement when opening a meeting to discuss on how to speed up cases in court.
Mengi ya mirathi yamekuwa yakisubiri kwa muda mrefu mahakamani kutokana na wasimamizi wa mirathi kushindwa kutimiza wajibu wao, majukumu yao ya kugawa na kufunga mirathi. Kwa kawaida, sheria na taratibu zinazoongoza mirathi hazina tatizo kabisa. Tatizo linakuja pale ndugu na jamaa wa marehemu wanashindwa kabisa kuelewana katika vikao vyao vya familia na ukoo.
Nchi ambao wanakabiliwa na mashauri hayo wanavyoweza kuathirika na kusababisha athari kubwa pamoja na familia, kiasi kwamba familia nzima, watoto wengine wanashindwa kupata haki yao ya msingi ya kuendelea au ya maendeleo, kwenda shule, kuwa na afya bora na ukuaji bora.
Education stakeholders in Arusha have completed construction of Eshau and Yamweda Primary School, which will provide free education to children from the Wahadzabe, Watatoga and Barbeg hunter-gatherers communities at Eyasi Valley so that they can get their rights to education.
We are asking parents to bring their children so they learn. However, we need more schools. Parents, please don't prevent your children from going to school. One day they will be help to you.
Hakukuwa na shule na ilikuwa ni changamoto kwa serikali peke yake kuleta huduma ya elimu.
There were no schools and it was challenging for the government to bring education, but by working with other stakeholders such as the church, you can see even now there are a lot of people.
Preparations for the funeral of renowned businessman and chairman of Morrison Group of Companies, Subhash Patel, have been completed, whereby his body will be cremated on Thursday at the Hindu cemetery in Makumbusho area, Dar es Salaam. Various leaders, friends and relatives have continued to give their condolences to the family and at his residence.
Ratiba ya kesho ni kwamba tumepanga kuanzia saa 4:30 mpaka saa 5. Viongozi wakuu watakuja katika eneo hili la msikiti. Tumeandaa eneo maalum kwa ajili ya kutoa salamu na kutoa heshima zao za mwisho. Na baada ya hapa kwenye saa 6:30 mpaka saa 7 tutakuwa tunaelekea maeneo ya kiwandani MMI ili kuwapa nafasi wafanyakazi wa makampuni yetu yote waliokuwa Dar es Salaam na mikoani ambao wamekuja kuhudhuria mazishi haya ili na wao waweze kutoa heshima zao za mwisho.
Inspector General of Police IGP Simon Siro has warned directors and managers of private security companies to adhere to requirements of their permits as well as laws of the country. IGP Simon Siro made the statement when closing a one-day meeting with the Association of Tanzania Security Companies in Dodoma.
Ndugu viongozi wenzangu, heshima ya makampuni ya ulinzi binafsi tunaijenga sisi hawa tuliopo hapa.
Prestige of private security firms. It is we who build it. Those of us here, it is we who also can ruin the reputation of private security firms, or we could build it.
And that is the end of the national news. International news comes next after the break. And in international news, more than 300 people have become homeless after a big fire razed down their houses at Kiamaina suburb in Nyahururu town, Kenya, in early hours of the morning. No one was injured in the incident, with cause of fire said to be due to electrical fluctuations.
A lot of houses have been burnt. The fire spread quickly. I urge people, when they are doing wiring, they should use qualified electricians.
Today is the first day of tougher restrictions against COVID-19 in Germany, which are expected to last until 10th of January, so as to address the second wave of the pandemic with daily death reaching records high. Joining us now is Thomas from our media partner. So Thomas, what do the restrictions entail and what do they aim to achieve?
So basically what they aim to achieve is to reduce very high numbers, and just to give you an idea, in the last 24 hours Germany recorded nearly 1,000 new coronavirus deaths. That's a record. And it also recorded over 27,000 new infections. So the aim of all these new restrictions is precisely to get those numbers down. So the numbers of coronavirus infections and the numbers of coronavirus deaths. What these new measures basically entail is that all non-essential shops will have to close. Schools will also close. Restaurants, museums, bars were already closed in advance. So basically, in a nutshell, you can say that all public life is being reduced to an absolute minimum. That also means, for example, that people can no longer go to shops to buy their Christmas presents, that they no longer can go to Christmas markets. Christmas markets have obviously been cancelled this year because of the coronavirus pandemic. So essentially, public life is being reduced to an absolute minimum, and authorities are asking Germans to stay at home as much as they can and make sure that they're still responsible, so that these numbers that I already mentioned can go down. It is not something that is just in the last few days. These numbers are going on for quite some time, and just to give you a broader perspective, we've now had 11 consecutive working days with over 400 coronavirus deaths daily. So you can clearly see how dramatic and how difficult the situation is here in Germany.
Okay, so which services will continue to remain open during the lockdown?
When you consider what exactly is essential and non-essential, there is a clear differentiation here, and you can see, for example, that essential shops are, for example, supermarkets, pharmacies, these kinds of places where people need to find basic stuff. What is non-essential is, for example, shops where they can buy clothes or where they can buy Christmas presents or these kinds of things. So there is a specific category for what is considered essential and non-essential, and everything that is deemed important for people in this kind of situation, whether it is going to a supermarket or to a pharmacy or to other medical shops, all these places will be able to remain open. Everything else will have to close.
Okay, so what impact has COVID-19 had socially and economically in Germany?
Socially, it has had a very important impact, a very difficult impact. I think one that is not very different to what other countries in Europe have experienced. Obviously, there are different numbers and different situations, but in general, you can say that the whole coronavirus pandemic has had an important impact socially in Germany and in other parts of Europe. Economically as well, this is something that German authorities are very concerned about, the potential economic impact, and that's why, for example, when you look at these new restrictions, the German government extended its coronavirus assistance to businesses that are particularly affected by this shutdown. So essentially this means that when the German government and German regional governments announced these new restrictions, they also had in mind measures to try and help businesses financially, and relevant authorities have also had measures in place for a long time to try and reduce the potential negative impact that this could have also on a social basis.
Okay, so is there a possibility of easing restrictions during Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day?
Essentially, what has happened now is that German authorities, on the one hand, have stressed the need to reduce contacts, but on the other hand, they have also stressed that it is important for Germans to be able to meet their relatives, at least during the most important Christmas days. So there will be a very limited easing of restrictions during those days that you mentioned. Basically, what it means is that one household will be able to meet with 4 other people from other households, basically described as the closest possible relatives. This excludes children, so children come on top of that. So it is essentially a measure to make sure that those limitations can continue so that public life can still be reduced, and that yet at the same time Germans can meet their closest relatives during the most important Christmas days. During New Year's, that is particularly different. There you will not be able to celebrate. There you will not have exceptions when it comes to these coronavirus restrictions. So there are certain exceptions for Christmas. There aren't exceptions for the New Year.
So how will you be spending your Christmas and Christmas Eve?
We actually had planned, before all this happened, a trip to the north coast. That's where we have relatives, but obviously because of the coronavirus pandemic, we have had to cancel all those plans, and we will be spending Christmas here at home in Berlin, only in a very closed relative group. We will try and not meet anyone else apart from the closest relatives that we have here in Berlin. We will obviously also not go out unless it's absolutely necessary. So in a nutshell, we will be complying with all the rules and regulations that have been put in place, even if that at this time means that we will not be seeing our relatives in the northern part of the country.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for the update. Until next time.
Until next time, and we wish you a Merry Christmas, and it has been a pleasure to be with you all this year, and we look forward to our crosses also in 2021.
Thank you so much. That is the end of international news. Business comes next after the break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
And in business news, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism has started to venture into geotourism, whereby Tanzania, through Ngorongoro Lengai Geopark in Arusha region, is among 2 African countries which have been recognized as UNESCO Global Geoparks.
Shirikiana na nchi zingine za Afrika.
By working together with other African countries, and some had such areas, Tanzania will be able to receive tourists from different countries.
Tuhamasishe Waafrika wenzetu.
We must sensitize fellow Africans as well as Arab countries on the importance of and on how we will be able to use such areas as tourist attractions.
Tanzania Investment Center has said that Tanzania companies will for the first time take part in the African Investment Forum next year to showcase projects each worth more than $3 million and to get capitals from the African Development Bank once the projects are approved.
Na sisi kama kituo cha uwekezaji Tanzania tumepewa jukumu la kufanya maandalizi.
As Tanzania Investment Center, we've been given the duty to prepare for the convention, so we are receiving different projects from the private sector through TCCIA.
Sisi kama TCCIA.
As TCCIA, we did not wait to be told, but took the initiative and sat with TIC director and suggested that we work together to secure projects from the private sector.
Confederation of Tanzania Industries and Business Community from Germany through the German Development Agency are implementing a project which will enable business from Tanzania and Germany to collaborate in business ventures.
Na sisi tuliona kwamba ipo haja ya watu wetu ambao na wanataka kukua.
There was a need for a people for growth by learning from fellow Germans. So it was a project that would bring together German companies and ours.
Hiyo mazmuni ya trip hiyo ilikuwa ni
The aim of the trip was to establish a partnership with our German counterparts so as to grow trade between Germany and Tanzania.
That is the end of business news. Sports comes next after the break.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Joaquinho, he did lose and then.
And in sports, Shotokan Karate fighters from Tanzania are expected to gain experience in this year's East African Shotokan Karate Tournament taking place this Saturday at the Indoor Stadium, National Stadium in Dar es Salaam.
The competition will start from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. in the evening on Saturday. On Sunday, the competition will be involving the semi-finals, quarter-finals, and the finals. We're expecting the guest of honor to be Mambo Sasa. All people are most invited in the competition to come. The entrance fee is completely free. Everybody is welcome to come and watch. The participants of this competition will involve children below 15 years, ladies who will be competing also separately, also youth from the age of 15 and above. We also get a chance to see a lot of men who are aged who will be taking part in this competition. Different clubs will be competing from different regions. We have confirmed regions from Morogoro will be competing, Iringa, Dodoma, Arusha. But also have several teams who are in the police force will be competing in this competition. Almost about 7 teams from the police defense force will be competing also. All people are most welcome. Thank you.
Two-time NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo has agreed to a 5-year Supermax extension with the Milwaukee Bucks. The deal will earn the Greek star $228.2 million. Here's the story.
The deal ends months of speculation about Antetokounmpo's future. Most of the talk centered around whether Antetokounmpo would opt to enter free agency following hints in the off-season that he wanted to be paired with another superstar. With an average annual value of $45.6 million, it is the largest contract in NBA history, according to The Athletic. Washington Wizards guard Russell Westbrook signed a 5-year, $206.8 million contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2018, with an annual average salary of $41.4 million. Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry signed a 5-year, $201.2 million extension in 2017.
West Bromwich Albion have sacked Slaven Bilic following their draw with Manchester City on Tuesday evening. Here's more.
Bilic leaves the club 19th in the Premier League with just 1 win from their opening 13 games of the season. He was appointed in June 2019 to replace Darren Moore and steered West Brom back into the Premier League in his first season in charge. Nigel Pearson and Sam Allardyce are already being touted as his successor, without being unlikely to pay compensation for village replacement.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. Thank you for watching and good night.
You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on. You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
Kutoka kali mbili za saa 8 mpaka kamba to kamba, tupige story na wana kwa taarifa yako na the mashup. Na hii ndio tip of the day na exclusive interview. Club 101 saa 8 mpaka saa 10 jioni live ndani ya Capital TV na Capital Radio.